welcome to the channel. So today the coach is going to get an oil change, fuel filters. I'm going to pull some fluid samples and install a cool little gadget. So let's get busy. Alright, so here we are back at the engine bay. This is a Cummins ISL 400, 8.9 liter. Here's the air filter right here. I'm not going to be doing it this time. It just got replaced last year. There's the indicator. Shows we're still good, still in the yellow. The oil filter is right there. Get to it from underneath the coach. Right over here, 2 fuel filters. So here's the oil I'm going to be using. It's Rotella T6 1540 weight. There's the oil filter. It's an LF 3000. And the 2 fuel filters right there, FF 5488 and FS 1003. So here's a little gadget that I talked about earlier. Easy oil drain valve. This one is part number EZ-2. I picked up this little spring clamp just to go over the top. I'll show you how that works, but picked that up at Ace for like $1. You can buy them from this company, but I think they're like $8. I like to use this big strap wrench to take the oil filter off. Works pretty good. Just use a 1/2 inch ratchet extension. Then I 3D printed this little wedge, this little cone. Show you more what that's about later. Yeah, it's not what it looks like, guys. So here it is. This just takes place of your oil drain plug. Pretty simple. I'm going to lube that up a little bit. It's got this little cap. When you want to open it to drain your oil, that's it. So I got this spring hose clamp. It's going to go right on the top right there. Slide down and sit in that little groove. That way this lever stays closed all the time. There's no danger of it opening up while I'm going down the road. Total cost for this stuff, the oil I got at Walmart. I think those were $63 a piece. This oil filter I picked up at FleetGuard. I think it was $70. And the fuel filters just got on Amazon. I think this one was like $20. This one might have been $38. And I think this oil drain valve was like $55 or $60. I picked that up at FleetGuard, but you can get them online for a little cheaper. Saw them on Amazon, I think for $30, $40 or something, and it came with that 90-degree elbow on there, but they were like 2 weeks out, so I just picked this one up locally. If you're going to buy these filters on Amazon, just make sure you're getting the real deal. There's a lot of fakes out there, and what you got to look for is this little red square right here. Make sure it's lined up and it goes from the F to the G. You'll see the knockoffs, they'll put this red square like up here, or it'll be right here, but it'll be off center a little bit or something. But they'll make it look pretty good, and all the lettering and everything will be the same. But that's what I've seen on Amazon, and they're about the same price, but you're getting a cheap copycat version of these filters. You want the real deal. So this is what I use to drain my oil into. It's just a concrete mixing tub from Home Depot. Works perfect for the oil changes. Then I just use a cheap little drill pump from Amazon. Pump the used oil out into the empty oil jugs. Take it down for a recycle. Alright, so I'm going to remove the oil fill cap. See my jacks down there. Don't mind this mess right here. Sorry about that. I'm working on some trailer brake issues. But I got the jacks underneath there. underneath the subframe, so it's only going to fall about a 1/4 inch if I lose air. I'd probably have to go change my underwear, but it's only going to drop 1/4. That's the easiest way I've found to try not to make a mess, at least. Punch a hole in the bottom there with a punch, Phillips screwdriver or anything like that, and get the majority of that oil out of there. That filter holds about a gallon. Alright, so I got a little bit of oil on that O-ring. I even put some red Loctite on there. Doesn't say to do that, but I'm just going to do it. Cannot have this thing coming off. Alright, that's pretty snug. And that's it. So as you can see, it kind of hangs down there. Definitely lower than the original drain plug, but it's still up higher than some other things. That's my exhaust right in front of it. The rear diff hangs down lower than that. Front steering axle's down lower than that. So hopefully nothing takes it out. That would really suck. So according to the little instructions here, you're going to fill it with oil, lube the O-ring on top, spin it till it makes contact, and then go plus 3/4 turn. So I like to put the filter inside a small bucket, stuff some rags around it, holds it in place while you fill the oil. So when you're installing these filters, just keep an eye on this gasket. It's not glued in place, it just kind of presses in there, sits in there. So just make sure that thing stays in place when you're installing the filter. Alright, that's about 3/4 right there. No need to go crazy on this. You don't want to screw the next guy. I have a feeling I'm going to be the next guy. Alright, so fill in the oil. You can do it in 2 spots. You got this place right here, and then on top of the valve cover, way back in there. And you can get to that one from the bedroom. This takes forever. It would probably take an hour to fill that up with 6 gallons. So I think I'm going to open the slide, get in the bedroom, and fill it from right there. It'll be nice and quick. Alright, so I'm back in the bedroom. I got the engine access panel removed, and there's the oil fill cap right there, top of the valve cover. So I'm going to put some towels or sheets or something down right here, and try not to make a mess. Alright, so I got all my sheets laid down, got my funnel out, check out this hillbilly setup. So I took my long funnel, cut it down. That's just the size of the opening of the fill hole right there. And then I zip tied this bigger one on top just to, I don't know, give it a little height, maybe increase the splash zone catch area a little bit. So hopefully it's gonna wedge right down in there. And it's pretty tight right there. I think it's gonna work pretty good. Makes me kind of nervous bringing a bunch of motor oil into the coach like this. Hopefully the wife don't catch me. All right, here we go. I'm gonna check that on the dipstick, see what it looks like. If it looks good, we'll start the coach and then check it again. Looks pretty good. All right, so now I'm going to put the oil fill cap back on, start it up. That setup worked pretty good. Didn't spill a single drop. All right, that's perfect. So it ended up taking right at 6 gallons. Plus a little bit more, maybe like a quart more. That's total, including the oil filter. All right, so moving on to the fuel filters. I'm gonna start with the primary first, then we'll do the secondary. So on the primary, there's a water sensor on there, so you gotta disconnect that. Just unclip that little wire. That. Got my catch basin down here for any fuel that leaks out. So when you get the primary filter off of there, just make sure this O-ring, this little one, comes off. Sometimes it'll stick on the threads on the housing right there. So they give you a new one of these when you get a new filter, but just make sure the old one comes out with the old filter. All right, so here's my new primary filter. So I'm gonna fill this with fresh diesel fuel just like I did the oil filter. If you notice up top here, there's that little O-ring. It's gonna go right there. But the outer little holes, that's where the unfiltered diesel fuel enters, and then it goes through the filter, and then the clean diesel comes out of that center hole and goes to your motor. So you don't want to fill it by that center hole. So that's where my little plug comes in. I'm going to plug it and then fill it through those little holes. All right, now I'm going to try to install this thing without dropping it. First things first, there's that little O-ring, little gasket. I'm going to put that on the housing over the threads. Make sure it's seated at the top. Then same thing, told me to fill it, lube the top, which it already had some fresh diesel around the top O-ring, screw it till it makes contact, plus 3/4. And then it's talking about the water drain right here. That's how you drain the water. You want to check that every so often. Unscrew it 3 times, drain the water, screw it back in 3 times till it's tight, just hand tight, no wrenches. So I'm going to go 3/4 more. It feels pretty good right there. Then plug that water sensor back in.
Okay, before I move on to the secondary filter, I'm going to start it up. But before you do that, you want to prime the system, try to get some air out of it. So I'm going to turn the key to the on position, let the lift pump cycle, try to purge some of that air out of there if there's any air in there. Do that 3 times and let it do that for about 10 seconds each time. And then try to start it, and we'll see what happens. If all goes well, I'll move on to the secondary. All right, here it goes. Going to try to start it. Yes! All right, so the secondary filter, it's the exact same steps, exact same procedure as the primary. So the only thing different is it doesn't have a water sensor wire to hook up, but it has that little O-ring, same design for the O-rings. So I think I'm just gonna put you guys on a time lapse for that one and not bore you too much. So I'm just gonna let the coach run for a little bit. I already checked for leaks. Everything looks really good. So that'll do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys found this useful. Like and subscribe if you want. And we'll see you on the next one. Oh, one other thing. I want to show you guys something.
So here's my old fuel filters. I'm gonna cut the tops off of them, see what they look like inside. Kind of give me an idea of the condition of my fuel system. So should be good. They only got about 4,000 miles on them. Changed them last year. So see what they look like. But I just really geek out on this stuff. I have to know. So I'm going to cut them open. Take a look. All right, so here's the primary. It looks pretty good. The only thing I'm concerned with is this darker area right here. Kind of looks like the beginnings of an algae problem. I don't know. But other than that, they look really good. Pretty clean. Alright, so here's the secondary. And it looks pretty good. Happy with that. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how these look. Kind of glad I cut them open just to see what's going on in there. But the only thing that concerns me is that. I don't know if that's algae or not, but I think just to be safe, I might start adding a antibacterial or algae treatment additive. Just see if I can maybe get that to clear up before the next one. I'll cut the next ones open too next year, see if there's a difference. But overall, they look pretty good. So thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.